What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube, presented as always by Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis. It's time to get fired up for the Pure Options Back to School Block Party. That is September 7th. Put that on your calendar. Saturday, September 7th, 1 to 7 p.m. at the Frandor location. You know where Frandor is because it's near Front 43. You've been going there for years. It's on the way to Michigan State if you're coming from Lansing. It's near the Lansing-East Lansing border. It is the day of the Michigan State-Maryland game. They will have that game on the big screen there, so you can keep tabs. You can come before or after, depending on when that game time is announced. 2 Chainz will be playing. They'll have food trucks. They'll have great deals on weed, of course. And you can they do block parties as well as anybody. And Pure Options is here for you again. September 7th, 1 o'clock. Put it on your calendar. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Bottom line is I could see that game going one way or the other.
Really good pianist.
Hey, buddy. How's it going? Did you have a good weekend?
It was great. Yeah.
Good.
A lot of tennis, a lot of soccer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Happy for you.
Yeah, you would have enjoyed the soccer for sure.
Oh, yeah? Is that the bit?
No. We'll get into the tennis in a minute because it's actually part of a hot take I want to do, and I think you would have enjoyed it tremendously.
So you went and saw tennis?
Both.
Okay.
So I went down to Cincinnati and Louisville and saw 2 soccer games and some really cool tennis.
This weekend? You went to Louisville?
Yeah.
How long of a drive is that?
2 hours from Cincinnati.
Yeah, but I mean total.
Oh,
6 hours?
No, 4.5. It's closer than Marquette.
Marquette's
Marquette's
to get to Louisville.
Yeah, it's not far.
Huh.
None of that's far. Nothing's far. when you go to the UP often, nothing else is far.
Yeah.
Iowa is closer than Marquette. Like Iowa City is closer to here than Marquette is.
It's a brutal drive, though.
It does
Man.
suck. It does. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know you did all that this weekend. I thought you were just going to watch some soccer. I didn't know the tennis was involved.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I was sort of tweeting at you if you were paying attention.
Did you at me?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
Was it from the show account?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I don't see the show account goings on. I don't even get retweeted by my own show account, so why would I pay attention to it?
That's fair.
And you didn't at me, so how was I supposed to see it?
These are all fair points.
That's all I mean. I mean, I don't know. I have to go back and look now. What was going on here?
That's all fair. Before we get into our hot takes and your hot takes, it should be a good show. There is a fair bit of reaction to my takes on Harbaugh and Michigan and being a little soft on the punishment side. So you're going to enjoy a good swath of those, Jason, of reading those.
Good.
I definitely trimmed them down. I will tell people, like, if you come at me with a paragraph, it's going to get either cut completely or really trimmed. You got to be a little more succinct because it's not me. I'm willing to listen to it. It's Jason. I have to keep him in mind, and I worry about that.
I appreciate you using me as the scapegoat for not having to read all these. But, I see from the Couch and the Rube account here, the Rube would really like this too. And then there's a picture of a soccer game.
Yeah.
Because I don't like soccer. Oh, wait, there's tennis. Wait, Andre Agassi was?
Yeah, we'll get into that.
No shit. You
Yeah.
had 50-yard line seats at this thing.
Pretty awesome.
Why don't you at me, you penis? What is this?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I hate my own show's account. I do. The Rube would love. Look at this shit. On August 9th, I didn't even see this.
Yeah.
That's a corner kick seating you got there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you keeping me involved with the show, and
no problem.
nice. I love the show account here.
No problem.
All right.
Yeah. By the way, I know some of our live listeners, this is a later start than usual. This will be, I think, the last Monday that we get off to a close to 2 o'clock start. Like, Michigan State football has their fall camp post-practice interview sessions. Just, they don't get over till like 1:30-ish on Mondays, and I think this is the last Monday that's going to be the case. We'll see. But maybe one more. So that's why things have been
for
a
the other
later.
95% of you that listen to this whenever. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So, but for the 5% or less even that are live, we there you go. All right, are you ready to dig into our hot takes?
Yeah, man. You want to go first? You had the big weekend apparently.
Well, I'll
I
get
didn't
into
do anything.
I'll get into that third. Well, you know what? We'll go MSU last. I'll start there because I teased it.
All right.
You and I can become cynical about sports or find trouble enjoying certain things. I think some of it has to do with our love of gambling, of betting on sports. So if we don't have money on a sport, finding true joy is sometimes like, what are we doing here?
I am never going to financially recover from this.
And then, it's just, you watch enough. It's just not the same as when you're 15, right? It's not the same as when you're 12. It's not the same as when you have
talking about porn
or a good sweat going on a bet that as you used to do in 2009 when you didn't actually have the money you were using to gamble.
That is true. Yeah, that is valid.
This weekend, there were two things that I watched that made me feel like 15 again, and it was not porn. USA basketball, first of all, the finish, it was both against Serbia and the way that game finished and the comeback, but then also against France and the Steph Curry shots and Devin Booker as a role player and just these great players like jubilant about a moment. Like this mattered so much to them. To watch the best players in the world, in our country, on one team having to buy into roles and see even at that level, a guy like Steph Curry, for example, separates himself from some of the younger players because he's who they go to in the clutch. And you can tell some guys get a little tight in these games. And you can tell that they're, the Currys of the world and Kevin Durant and LeBron, especially in that Serbia game, like they are still the alphas in a lot of ways. And there is this level that they reach. I had so much fun watching that. I have not had that much fun watching basketball, period, in a long time. So that was number one. No money involved, just enjoyed the heck out of both those games. And then Saturday, I was in Cincinnati. I mentioned watching soccer. Went down with my buddy Scott Powers to watch a FC Cincinnati game on Friday night in the League's Cup against the Mexican side, and then we went to a game in Louisville, which is in the USL on Saturday night. But on Saturday during the day, the Cincinnati Open, which starts this week, had like a charity match, charity exhibition, and it was a doubles match with Agassi.
Wow.
And Tommy Paul on one side, who's in the prime of his career still, is 27, and Andy Roddick and John Isner on the other side. And Steffi Graf calling the lines and Lindsay Davenport in the chair. It was, and they're all mic'd up, so they're talking, they're making fun of each other. Some good tennis and a lot of funny bits, and it was an awesome hour and a half.
Huh?
It's just
like Harlem Globetrotters where they throw the bucket of water and it's like confetti.
No. They're playing serious.
Oh.
But they make fun of each other for missed shots or serves or things they couldn't do in their career. You could never do this and you still can't do it. Or Steffi Graf's calling the lines, and that's Agassi's wife. And so at Roddick saying, I really wish the rest of us could have our wives here to call the lines. I mean, Jesus, you're getting a lot of calls, that sort of stuff. But anyway, to see Agassi, whose biography, Open, it's called, is my favorite of any sports biography I've ever read. Highly recommend. And a guy who was like at his peak when I was 12, 13, 14, 15 years old as a young tennis player, and just I still picture myself walking pigeon-toed like him, even though it's not how I look when I actually walk. I mean, it just you talk about your heroes, right? And your people. I mean, and Roddick, who was later than that in life for me, but still with just some peak times of enjoying tennis in the great 2009 final, Wimbledon final against Federer, and like to have those guys on the court, and then Graf, who's, same deal. I mean, it was like I had this grin on my face. Like I was this dorky 12-year-old and just watching and listening. And I don't know. I mean, one of the great sports experiences I've had in a long time. And you put that with USA Today basketball, and you get these moments where you realize why you love this stuff. And you also realize when you go through something like that with the tennis, why certain years are just so formative. We talk about the bad boys era when we were like 10. I think what happens to you in sports from like 10 to 17 pretty much frames your life in terms of what's going to really, who you're going to root for, who's going to be special, who's a superstar for you. Agassi is up there. I realize that like Agassi is in that level of people with John Elway, Barry Sanders, Ron Banks, of like the legends that I would be a little giddy around still as an adult who's covered sports for a long time. It was one of the best.
If you could sit down and have a donut with Andre Agassi, right? How great would that be?
Groovy Donuts with Andre Agassi. There's a podcast.
So do they do a tour of this kind of deal? Like, how did you find out about this event? So it looks like it's kind of fun.
It was amazing. So basically, they do it kicks off. I think they do a charity match every year. This week, starting tonight and tomorrow, is the Cincinnati Open, which is even becoming, I think, a 2-week event next year. But it's a 1-week tournament. It's in the U.S. Open series, so it's one of the events that leads up to the U.S. Open in 2 weeks. One of the hard court. So all the top players play, and they usually do some sort of charity exhibition and this raised money for like the children's hospital in town, and they bring in some big stars and people pay to go watch it. And nice. It was awesome. Cool at center court there. Got to walk around, see other people practicing who are, good pros and on all sorts of courts. It was one of the best sporting experiences.
So did you guys stay the night?
We stayed the night in Cincinnati, the first night, second night in Louisville.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it absolutely incredible.
Go to the strip club at night. No ladies, right? No wives.
That's not really our thing.
It's not mine anymore either.
Yeah, just
at 45.
We like to find a great dive bar. A great bar. Like we found this great bar in Cincinnati. I mean, it's no Front 43 or Midtown Brewing Company, but it was a great bar near the stadium. Sorry, that was in Louisville. Great bar near the stadium. We found another couple places in Cincinnati, good Irish pub. And, it was awesome. So what is your first hot take?
Well, it's the Olympics still. I'm going to stay on that. By the way, July is over, but July topic. Where do you put Steph Curry all-time? In the all-time basketball player list. MJ, LeBron, 1 and 2. We can argue that forever, right? But I mean, I'm serious. Where do you put Steph Curry in your top 5? All-time players.
Greatest shooter of all time.
Greatest. So that's where you'd go. So is he in your top 10, top 50?
He's top 10. Yeah, I mean, the thing is you have to put people like, I think Kareem is in there. It depends how you define certain big men of certain eras. But he's certainly in your top 10, I think, of all
because
time.
He changed the game. That's where people go, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if you sit there and go back and forth, and I guess in the end it doesn't matter. But yes, I'm with you. The basketball is definitely. I sprinkled a little cash on it because you have to. It was at 3:30 on a Saturday. I mean, come on, how can you not? But by the way, Steph Curry or Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is another legend. I know that he gets all of the Scientology thing with Tom Cruise, but the ending last night with Tom Cruise jumping off all this shit. I mean, the guy is crazy. Do we not respect Tom Cruise enough? I mean, the guy can just sit there and go, oh, yeah, I'm going to go up 1,000 feet in the air and then, look around. I mean, my palms were sweating watching this shit. It's unbelievable. I'm going to give that guy 20. If he's going to keep making these Mission Impossible movies, he gets my 20, 25, whatever tickets are nowadays.
Yeah,
you get my $25. I'm not. Like Steven Spielberg said, Tom Cruise is saving movies right now.
I'm not sure I'm not sure he's a good person. And,
who cares? Listen, as long as he's not doing anything crazy illegal. I mean,
he may be.
Where do we draw the line?
He may be somewhat.
He's crazy,
abusive to his ex-wife, and he's not a good father.
Where's that story?
Oh, they're everywhere. Look up Katie Holmes, Tom Cruise. He
doesn't talk to his kid anymore. I understand he has.
You don't
faults.
talk to your kid either. So
I don't. Exactly.
Right.
And I don't do any of those stunts. And I'm not even close to being as cool as Tom Cruise. Listen, you can dissect his life as much as you want, but you have to admit, both Steph Curry and Tom Cruise. I mean, they saved the Olympics, right? It was amazing.
I don't think Tom Cruise had anything to do with it.
No,
but
he didn't have anything to do with saving the Olympics. I mean, he transferred it from France to L.A. and did that whole thing with a Hollywood sign. I mean, if you watch that and you're not impressed and you can't look past him not talking to his child anymore, I mean, that's on you.
So it's a great Olympics, and part of it was the big moment for Peacock and for streaming. The fact that you could see all those different events, you could go back and see replays. I mean, it was incredible. This was the moment where it's like it's hard to make fun of Peacock because that was the best broadcasted Olympics ever.
Do we need it on USA Network?
Sure. USA Today gives some people who don't have, there are people who can't afford Peacock, and they get a few. They get USA
but you
Today.
get the garbage events though on USA Network.
No, you want to have Peacock.
And Noah Lyles, I didn't know who this guy was before the Olympics, but he's going after Anthony Edwards and all this shit. What are you doing? I mean, people want to love you. You're an Olympic gold medalist.
What was he saying about Anthony Edwards?
He just said that he couldn't believe that Adidas wanted to invite him to somebody's event when Anthony Edwards hasn't won anything in his career. Yeah, it was just kind of, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something to that effect. And it's just I think he was talking shit to other U.S. athletes and the basketball team. I'm like, why do that?
Yeah.
That's not very fair. Anyway, Olympics are great.
Better than Carmen Electra's hot.
What? Come on.
Second hot take. I'm going to Tim Stout the hell out of this. So Jonathan Smith had interviews before I came over here. And one of the things that's very clear, there's a tone shift in him. And I'm sensing it in his voice. And I asked him about it, and he talked about it a little bit. Just that sort of the season is coming. But none of us have been through a year covering him yet, or fans watching him or anything. So you're getting used to things. Like this was a noted change in temperament. And what I can't read is whether he thinks they're going to be okay. And this is just the natural urgency of they had their first scrimmage Saturday. They got another one this Saturday. They're inside 3 weeks before the season. And you're trying to get a lot of things sorted really quickly. And, it's go time. Or whether they're in trouble. And he's like, there's a lot of work to do here before the first game. I have no clue because I haven't had to. 2 years from now, you'll be able to read that because we'll have experienced this. Like we'll see what they look like this year based on his demeanor going into the year, right? We'll have a better sense of what certain things mean in terms of reading the tea leaves. But it could go either way, I don't know that I've ever covered a season. I probably have because there have been a lot of seasons where there was a wide range of outcomes. But, I really don't know what this means. What the players think they're going to be fantastic, but players are idiots. Like they are. I'm not idiots.
That's smart. That's smart. Do that, yeah.
Yeah, that's not the right way to say it. But
we're going to have to actually edit that in post.
But players often think they're going to be great. I've covered bad teams where the players thought they were going to compete for national title. I've covered JUCO basketball players who barely started who had NBA aspirations. I've covered mid-major college football players who were sure they were going to shock the world and go undefeated.
Hey, man, you got to have that mentality.
Absolutely. What I'm saying is you just can't believe any of it yet because I don't know. Like Jack Velling's talking today, and you want to give him credibility, the tight end transfer from Oregon State, who's an established player in that offense, and he's talking about, the offense is going to be really good, this, and this. You want to give him the credibility because he's been in the system. He knows what a good offense should look like. And yet I've been around too many athletes who think a team is going to be one thing and then it's just not. And that's so I don't know. And I don't know how to read Jonathan Smith. And so I'm not giving you any insight at all. I'm just telling you his tone has changed. That man realizes the season is coming, and I don't really know how he feels about it. I don't know if they're going to be good. I don't know if he thinks, hey, boy, or this could go okay, but this. I do think there are some positions he thinks they're going to be all right at. And you listen to, I do.
Quarterback.
Well, in defensively, I think they really like their linebackers. I think there's some guys on the defensive line that they like. You keep hearing about Chris Bogle on the end, who's been kind of a talented guy who's had kind of a career that's been up and down, and he's had injuries, but there's a lot about him. So we'll see. And he's a guy.
Could you imagine not having one defensive lineman you like though?
No doubt.
That would be scary.
And then you hear about. Some young guys on the offense. I think there are things they do like. I'm not saying there aren't things they like. There was a definite shift this week coming out of that scrimmage.
In your khakis?
So, anyway.
You know what the best part of this whole thing is?
What's that?
Is that you shitting on my first take and then you starting your second hot take with, I'm going to Graham Stout this one.
Yes, right.
And then proceed to go on for 7 minutes.
Yeah, I apologize.
Jesus Christ.
What's your second hot take?
The Detroit Lions are NFC North champions. Let's go!
So the Lions preseason game, 14-3, the Lions lose. I have not seen more coverage over a terrible, complete-ass preseason football game in my fucking life. I understand that some, like Colton Pouncey, you got to churn out some sort of, content constantly. But I have seen numerous, the grades were given for the 14-3, we're going to recap this 14-3. By the way, Nate Sudfeld, I'm asking an honest question. I'm not being a dickhead here. But how could one man be so bad at football that you're in the league still I know that quarterbacks are at a premium, but the fact that you have Nate Sudfeld, who is god fucking terrible in a preseason game is embarrassing to me. I don't understand how you could sit there and make the NFL and not, you know what I mean? He just seemed like he was discombobulated. Wouldn't you think, at this point in your career, Nate Sudfeld, that you would just be letting it rip? You're calling some plays, whatever you're doing, but just chuck a fucking ball. I don't know. I've never seen anybody slower in my life. sit back. I know it's preseason, but if you see Nate Sudfeld on a field during the Lions' regular season, we're fucked.
So a couple things. Well, yeah, it does seem like there are better college quarterbacks coming out every year that should be better than Nate Sudfeld. I would also tell you if you're gonna watch a lot of preseason football, if you're gonna watch Nate Sudfeld, I got 2 words for you: pure options.
Yeah,
because
it helps.
August,
it definitely helps.
August is long. I mean, the Premier League starts next Saturday, and that's for real, and that's fun, and that can get you. But like when you start to get the sort of the buzz, the itch for football, and you're still 3-4 weeks out from meaningful football, this is when Pure Options is here for you. If you spend $50 or more, again, let them know Couch in the Roof sent you. You'll get free 8th of Pro Grow, terrific in-house brand. Just let them know Couch in the Roof sent you anyway. Go to pureoptions.com for location information. That'll get you through preseason football. I'm with you, though. It to me.
By the way, Nate Sudfeld, great guy, great family man. I'm sure he's great off the field.
Yeah.
But on the field, it just blows my mind how one person, can act like is he left-handed? Maybe we should.
And here's the other.
Bizarre.
One of the things that's different about the Lions now that they're good is the preseason means even less. When there was when you were desperate for the Lions to become good and they previously sucked. You'd be looking for signs in the preseason of something. You don't need signs of the preseason. You know they're a good team. It's just like let's get through this and without injuries. It's a very different situation. All right, my third hot take. So Michigan State basketball is leaving tomorrow, I believe it is, for this trip to Spain to play 3 games beginning in Madrid. Mm-hmm. And I wrote about this in a quick takes last week. I do think this is the perfect year for a team like this to do this sort of trip, because there is so much that needs to be sorted out, and there's so many guys in different roles, and to play legitimate competition overseas, some grown-ups, and to get humbled here and there to test different lineups and all that stuff. I think there will be some humbling and some understanding and a lot of stuff that often doesn't get worked out until deep into practice will be understood earlier now. It'll change practice going in. Guys will understand, shoot, this guy may be actually ahead of me. Boy, coach really this guy did well late in games. Coach seems to like him. It'll change, I think, the intensity and the vibe of September. Not that guys aren't always battling for roles. I just think it'll reveal some things. What's interesting about these foreign trips, though, and the reasons lineups have to be varied, and Izzo said that. He may start a different lineup in every half of all 3 games. He may have 6 different lineups starting.
Don't coach my team.
And he's looking for growth and to see different guys do things. He doesn't care about winning at all in this. The reason you have to do that also is it's one last chance for guys to realize they don't like their place, they don't like their role, and some guys will fight for it and change for it and they'll be young enough and they'll realize this is going to take a minute. But it's also a last chance for somebody to leave. Like, I don't know if these foreign trips, unless you do them delicately, are I think this is a really smart year to do it, but I think there is a little danger in that. A guy could go and come back and go, boy, there's 2 guys ahead of me in my position, or I didn't like the way coach used me here. I'm going to look around and still enroll somewhere else. Now, there are all sorts of limitations on the portal right now, and the portal is not open. But that is something I think, I don't think it's going to happen with this Michigan State team. But it would take one lawsuit for somebody to say they want to go, and they'd win it, and they'd get to play somewhere else. Or somebody to all they would have to do is enter the portal earlier, still be in the portal, and then decide to go. Like, that sort of thing I think is going to be very interesting to watch with these sort of teams going forward and whether it makes sense. Now, I don't think that's right for the team. I don't think that's good for the players. I don't think any of that. You're taking a all-expenses trip to Spain or wherever your team is going. You ought to be committed for the next year at that point. And I don't think that's what's going to happen with Michigan State because, again, none of these guys are in the portal. The portal's not open right now. There might be something with certain grad transfers that I don't know if they could do anything. I don't know what else could be done there might be some guys who could have a loophole around it. I don't think any of that will happen. But I did think that is interesting. That is one thing in this day and age, if you're a coach, you actually have to think about keeping guys happy in the summer on a trip like this, because you never know what could actually come out of that. I do think, though, for MSU, they're going to find out a lot about Jeremy Fears, the point guard play. They're going to find out they're going to learn a lot about themselves that they wouldn't this early, and I think for this particular team, that's essential.
Who's going with the team? Solari?
No, no reporters are going.
No?
No, who wants to go do that?
I'd do it.
Well,
go to Spain and just watch basketball practice, hang out with Izzo?
Don't get me wrong. There is a way that it would be fun. What I would really hate, the basketball part of it I would enjoy. I would enjoy touring and taking my wife and doing that sort of stuff. But if I'm going to do a Spain trip, I want to do my Spain trip. I don't want to like be a voyeur taking video of like, hey, the basketball team was looking at this museum today. Oh, let's send video back. That shit I don't care about. I don't want to do that.
Is that reporting though?
That's what you got to produce content when you're on. I don't want to be producing content. If you're on an all expensive paid trip by your company to something like this.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
You're working and it's not fun. And I'd rather not go and do it my own way. I'm not saying it's I don't not want to follow 22-year-olds around Spain when they don't even want you there.
That's true.
You're
like a narc.
It would be ass, man. I don't want.
You're right. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't want
to go now.
I don't want any of that. So, now what is your third hot take?
Before the Olympics, little add on there. Is Rudy Gobert the most hateable dude you don't care about? Like when you see him, you just go, "Fuck that guy." Like I know it's the COVID thing, but it feels like he's always getting into like scrapes or getting dunked on or getting pushed over. He just looks like a sad sack. I just don't like him sometimes.
2 points. I would argue that many of our listeners would put Jim Harbaugh above him, but
a little bit, yes, yeah. I understand.
But secondly, I would say that he overestimates his value. Shit, the plug already fell out. He overestimates his value.
New record.
Yeah, it's early.
But he did get the money for it. I mean, they did break him off. It is
no doubt.
Crazy,
what I mean is on the court. Like he doesn't understand. Like he doesn't give you anything offensively. There's certain things he doesn't do well defensively. He does help defense great. There are certain things he does great. But when you can't throw the ball to somebody and get a bucket because he has less offensive touch than me or you, like that's an issue. Like that's a freaking issue. You have to understand that. And he doesn't seem to have that self-awareness at all.
And he
times.
Thinks he's good on the offensive end.
He thinks he's good on the end. It drives me freaking nuts. I get why a guy like Draymond can't stand him.
And bake take quickly. LeBron and his kids have a handshake. Like, can you imagine ever having a handshake with your dad back in the day? It's so bizarre now. And by the way, the handshake thing, like all the players have it too. And the first thing I think about when I see like him and KD, like you remember KD, right? But like Halliburton, like how do you remember like the Halliburton handshake? Like all of those, each guy has a handshake, and then you got to fucking see Steve Kerr and give him like an elbow wing thing, and like it's just.
In middle school, you never had a handshake?
No, with who?
You didn't have friends. I forgot. Yeah.
I would need friends to get a handshake from.
That's
Graham.
true. That's true. You can't do your own thing at home.
We didn't have our own handshake. I mean, I had a couple friends, but I don't know. I'm just saying, as an adult, if I had to remember, I would be so fucking paranoid going to a practice and be like, "Oh, damn, I got to do the thing with KD, and then we got to do the Anthony Edwards 2 back slaps, a thing with a finger." You know, like I don't know. Well, it's a good old handshake. You know,
if you have friends, Midtown Brewing Company this week, this Thursday. Lord of the Rings trivia, right? Featuring
what sport do they play? Quidditch?
Sorry. Featuring a cocktail special, Revendel's Quest, which is whiskey, freshly muddled mint, house-made honey, simple syrup, lemon juice, topped with Vanderbilt Honeycrisp cider. Sounds fantastic. The picture looks amazing. But this Thursday, 7 o'clock, Lord of the Rings trivia at Midtown Brewing Company. Call Midtown Brewing Company. Reserve your spot, because I think a lot of people want to do this. If you go to Midtown Brewing Company on Facebook, you can learn more about that as well. Thursday at 7 o'clock, put a team together. If you have friends, you don't need a handshake, but you do have to have some friends. Some people want to play. And but if you're into Lord of the Rings, Midtown Brewing Company does these themed trivias as well as anybody. All right, we ready to dig into these listener hot takes?
Yeah, let's do it. Ryan Schultz up first. If Stallion's only reason for being on the CMU sideline was to help them predict plays, he wouldn't have been wearing camera glasses.
This is a really great point.
That's the point you needed for the Stallions thing?
No, but I don't.
Thanks, Ryan.
Like that. Yeah, I mean that does make sense. I don't have my information is not coming from I don't have Connor Stallions as a source myself. I don't have that. So the information that I have shows the CMU advantage and interest in it, and that's why one of the reasons he was there. I'm sure for him it was not something that was completely altruistic. if that's the right. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a very good point, Ryan.
Jarrett, it was correct for Jason Tatum to not play much in the Olympics. He had LeBron and Durant playing in front of him. He also is a high-use player, and he had to be a role player for USA, and that's not hard to do for his skill set. And bonus, a defensive scorer is MSU's first TD this year.
Yeah, I mean, the Tatum, people are upset about Tatum. Tatum plays the same position as LeBron and KD in a lot of ways, and he's not as good as them at creating for others. And you're going to play him at the 4 over Bam at times. I mean,
I don't know if those guys care because of the ego, but really it's basketball. Like you mentioned, Devin Booker just doing what he had to do, and like he's getting praised if it's a big deal. It's like that's what you're supposed to do. Leave your ego at the door and play.
And you got to hit. Tatum was in a shooting slump. He didn't hit shots,
right.
And that hurt him too. If he had hit shots, he would have played more. But somebody in a 40-minute game with a 12-man roster, there can be a couple guys who are.
But that's a social media thing, right? Where it starts getting momentum, and then
there's some NBA fans who are really upset about it. But they're Celtics fans, or they're people who think that Steve Kerr is a hater. I mean, Steve Kerr played the people he thought. I mean, they needed. It wasn't like they won by a gazillion points. They barely beat France, and they had to come back from 15 down late to beat Serbia. Like, he put on the guys on the court he thought could win the game. And Tatum is he's a great player. He's a top 7 NBA player, but he is not a automatic take over the game guy at will, like Durant or like Steph or like KD. And those guys, and then you get a guy like Booker who he understood and he played the role, the pressure, defense, everything. He just did it at a really high level. He plays a different position, by the way, than Tatum. But yeah, no, I'm with you, Jarrett.
What about the referees? I thought the refs were great. They were letting them play. I forgot I was watching that because the guys were getting hammered. I'm like, shit, they're not calling anything.
France, Germany, the Germans may disagree in the France-Germany game. Little home cooking. But otherwise, yeah.
Below show next. First TD, first touchdown this season for MSU will be defensive. That's 2 people. Baked. Dudes who pull up directly next to you at the urinal should face jail time and pass a class on bathroom etiquette before they rejoin society. And bonus, how did you enjoy Cincy Couch? I rep the 513.
I like Cincy. I've been there a couple times for soccer, baseball, and loved the soccer stadium. It's not the best new stadium. Like Minnesota has the best new MLS stadium. That is phenomenal. But it's a good stadium. A little too much sun on one side. You got to think about that when you're building. But no, I love the town and love the tennis. I'm going to go back for the tennis tournament and do like 3-4 days there, I think, in the next couple of years.
Watch out, Cincy.
Yeah,
Graham Couch in your town for 3 days.
Somebody pulls up next to you at the urinal next to you. Now, here's the thing: if there are no other available urinals, there's nothing wrong.
How
with
many
that.
urinals are we talking about? Like if there's 6 of them. And I'm at the one in the corner, and this guy comes up to me.
Well,
I mean, that's
annoying. Not cool.
By the way, bathroom etiquette should be a class in middle school.
Yeah, you're right.
Kids should be taught
more than math. By the way, no, middle school kids aren't paying attention. My sister's a big believer in this, and she teaches
more than math
at a K-8 school. She's a speech pathologist, and she thinks like they should send middle schoolers away, like 7th and 8th grade, like just send them to a farm camp because they're just full of hormones and they're not paying attention. Nobody learns anything. What you really do need to learn is bathroom etiquette, how to beginning of finances, how to cook something, how not to be a jackass. Like these are the things, and it's tough because you look like shit. Like if you look at middle school pictures of most people, you're starting to get acne, you got braces, you got a long neck. Maybe that's just me, but a lot of people too. It's not your best self. Your skin is oily. It's a bad time in life, and you shouldn't have to be part of society, but they should teach you how to be part. So when you rejoin it in high school, you actually are a functioning human being.
Can your sister write in hot takes? That was a pretty good one.
It wasn't bad.
All kids in middle school should just go away.
She believes that.
Send them away to a farm.
I don't know if she wanted me to share that, but
I highly doubt it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Scott Urquhart next. College football interest takes a hit this year. The Big Ten and SEC will not be affected and have increased numbers, but the rest of the leagues see less interest and viewing numbers. Bonus, Izzo's last Frontier basketball game will be 80,000 in Spartan Stadium.
I hadn't thought about this one, but that would be he's doing the Marquette, so we haven't done a show, I guess, since this came out, but they're playing in Marquette on October 13th at the Superior Dome. Very cool if you get a chance to go. It's awesome. The Superior Dome is great. Largest wooden dome in the world. You're right on Lake Superior, and it's a couple miles from where he and Steve Mariucci shared a double-wide trailer in
What is that accent?
I don't know. That's bad. I was fix that in post. That was really awful.
Is that a DUper accent?
It was not. It was like a Southern person who spends too much time in the UP. So that's really cool, and that is something he wanted to do. It's a bucket list deal for not just for me, but for Tom Izzo. I do think trying to play a game in Spartan Stadium outdoors have to be very early in the season, obviously, because the problem is you start to, like San Diego, they had to pick the perfect time of year or perfect time of day, to do the aircraft carrier when there isn't condensation. To do it in Michigan in October,
good luck.
Dicey. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I mean, it'd have to be an exhibition. You'd have to play it early. Maybe you'd do it right after practice start, get some sort of thing so it's like early October, late September, and try and do it. Yeah, it's dicey basketball. I hadn't thought about that way. But to his first point, the Big Ten SEC will not be affected. I am curious to see when and if I do believe there's going to be less interest in college sports over time. I believe football will be the hardest to tell, but at some point we'll be able to see areas where it's been hurt. And I think the thing for a while is the college football playoff going to 12 teams is such a great move and increases some level of interest because that's a great move. Like it makes me more interested in the regular season, that the other parts that are weighing it down won't be seen as quickly with college football.
Suburban Spartan Dad, Garrick Normand and Jackson Kohler will be the odd men out once the Spartans come back from Spain. Newcomers will show more immediate impact on the wing and at the 5, and minutes for those two will be in the single digits.
Hot take here. I would be very surprised if Kohler is an odd man out starting the season. But
it's a hot take.
Yeah, no, it doesn't mean that doesn't mean it could happen. I mean, if he gets outplayed at that position, Normand is a little different because I think there is more of a he's a redshirt freshman. There's more of a glutton at the wing and two guard position for minutes. I could see that happening.
Ken Chu with Yellow Jackets are ass.
Sounds like a man that got stung.
It does.
I mean, what's the worst bee sting you've had and most irrational you've been at?
Oh, man. I was mowing a lawn, and there was like a hole in the lawn, and I stepped my foot in it, and it was like one of those bee
things in the ground.
Was it a hornet net? I don't know. Ones that are in the ground.
Yeah, bees do that too.
Oh, my God. And so it went into my boots, and it just attacked me all at once, like 50 boom, like needles going right into my foot, and I jumped so high that my boot came off and like flew up in the air, and I just started running towards the house to get in there.
How old were you?
Oh, I was probably about 27.
Oh, not 28. Yeah, no, it's the worst. I mean, I was not
I didn't know that was a possibility, so that thing, coupled together with my brain, I was like, what is happening? I thought I was getting a shot at or something.
So when I was about 10, we used to go to Leland and visit family friends who rented a house in August every year, and it was on, it's a couple blocks from Lake Michigan, but also was on a place called Lake Leelanau, which is a little lake. Used to have a swimmer's itch problem, but otherwise it was a cool lake. And there was this tree back near the lake that we called it like our pirate ship fort or whatever. We played in it. We were like 9, 10 years old, right? And one year we go up there, and there's a beehive in the ground underneath the tree, and it's ruining our game. So I'm annoyed. Being the brilliant person that I am, I stuck a stick down it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Then we got to play a new game because I got stung like 4 times on my hand and all of it. Like, who could keep the ice off their hand the longest, which is not as fun. But, yeah. And then once I also tortured a yellow jacket once that stung me in my backyard. Yeah.
You tortured it?
I put it in a box and let it die.
Is that torture?
It's not nice. But I was swinging a baseball bat in my own fucking yard, like.
Was this recently or
no,
when you
I
were
was
a
like
kid?
I was like 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this wasn't last year. This is
dude, I was like
30,
you were 27
years ago. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not a great.
30 years old or something, putting a little hornet in a box.
Those are stories
that'll show you.
Stories almost worth telling. Presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. Not just trivia this Thursday, Lord of the Rings trivia, which is awesome, but a great date night Unbelievable place for a beer after work. Brunch on Sundays. Go to Midtown Brewing Company on Facebook. Check them out. And many of you know our affinity for them.
I'm fascinated by 11-year-old Graham Couch just staring at a Hornet in a box.
One of my
with your little Oakley wraparounds on, probably.
I wasn't
bastard.
I didn't have the Oakleys yet. They would have been fake Oakleys that I got in like 12 or 13 on a youth group trip to New York. I ran into the fake Oakleys, on the street, and I'd start buying those. I remember my dad used to say to me, like, I'd come back with a bee sting, and he said, "You want me to stomp on your toe?" Like, no, why would I want that? He goes, "Because you'll forget about the bee sting."
Nice.
It's a good line. Yeah.
And then he punched you in the face. Jebediah, best strategy to bet the Tigers is to live bet their opponents when the Tigers are up at least a run and the opponent is at plus odds. Not always going to win, but with how much the bullpen is falling apart these days, you'll probably be up a couple units.
Yeah, you got to pay attention to the Tigers is the challenge of this.
I do, and you still can't. I don't know.
Yeah. There are times where you look at the bull. They've been better in bullpen games sometimes than I imagined.
You can't trust the bats, though. That's the problem.
But I do agree, though. The advantage when the Tigers, the best strategy to bet them is the live bet their opponent when the Tigers are up at least a run and the opponent's at plus odds. That is probably the best time to make money off them.
Varsity softball dad, you're correct about about Illinois having some world-class high school mascots, including Freeport. But I am Orangeville's biggest fan, so fuck the pretzels. No school will ever top Pekin High School's old mascot, however.
So, yeah, Orangeville. Toby Golembeski was the coach when I was the
name dropper.
Yeah, when I was the in Freeport. It was great. Love Orangeville. Little town, great football. Small school, just a few minutes north of Freeport. Hold on. Pekin High School. Let me see what this mascot was.
Highway to the danger zone.
Oh, that's right. Oh boy, yeah. You want to take from the school?
Pass away. What happened?
Until 1981, they were known as the Pekin Chinks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They said they still.
What did the mascot look like?
I don't know. That's not good. They yeah.
Wow, you said that like you've just
no,
been
and
saying
it was
it
done
forever.
in part to represent the
so
town.
Natural coming off your.
Watch yourself. That's not true. Done in part to represent the town's Pekin's wrongly supposed relation to the Chinese city of Peking. That is bad. That's not great.
Just trying to show a little tribute to the.
That's not
Chinese.
great. Not great. They have a great high school basketball tournament every year, but that is that Thanksgiving. But otherwise, that's not great.
Man, I was not prepared for that. All right, Spartan 18770. The NCAA has no intention of delivering any type of real sanctions towards Michigan pertaining to the Stallion scandal. But with all the chirping that the school and Harbaugh has done the past month, that will all change. Bonus. Now is the calm before the storm in East Lansing.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think I will be surprised if the NCAA really brings the hammer down on Michigan. And maybe I'm just wrong on this. Maybe because whatever they do, they're going to get tied up in litigation forever. And I think the NCAA is scared of that stuff. And I think Harbaugh's punishment was the biggest punishment that's going to happen.
Do you think the NFL would step in and punish Harbaugh, like some claim?
No,
right.
I think
I don't see that either.
No, definitely not.
Bibby, college football going to 12 teams has made future bets significantly more attractive. Miami plus 220, great value.
It's a bonus take, too.
Oh, bonus take. Michigan beats Texas week 2 with news of the running done for the year for Texas.
Running back, sorry. Yeah.
Michigan's defense feasts on their lack of proven playmakers and dominates in the trenches.
Yeah, the Texas did lose their star running back. I have no idea. I think everything I've read, Texas is supposed to be really good this year, but they're going to a redshirt freshman who was a pretty modest recruit at that position. I do think the 12-team playoff, it's made future bets more attractive, but it's also made it more dangerous because it's kind of like a golf tournament where you can find yourself having like 9 futures bets on teams to make the playoff, and when you actually do the math, you're like, shit, I need like 7 of these to win to actually be in the black. But I do agree, it makes it more fun.
David Cox next. This MSU coaching staff with last year's roster doesn't lose to Maryland, Minnesota, Iowa, or Rutgers. That's 9-3. Bonus. The Weasels lose 18 starters and their god coach. Iowa isn't anything special, and they come here. We have added BC and Purdue to the schedule with real coaching and talent development. That's 10-2.
These are hot takes.
Makes sense, David.
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
yeah. I mean, I understand last year winning, but they went 4-8 last year, and you got 4 more wins from them. So that's 8-4 if they'd won those 4 games. And you're right. I do think there are some games that would have gone differently. I don't know if all of them would have gone different. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see this year. Like a lot of what happens to Michigan State this year won't just be about Michigan State, right? It's like, is Boston College a pretty competitive team? Is Purdue as bad as people think they might be? Like, is Iowa actually pretty okay? Like how good the other team is. Michigan State could be what they are and have any, based on opponents be 5-7 or 8-4, and that's just it's the way it always is.
Bottom line is, I could see that game going one way or the other.
Ethan Charmella next. MSU football starts 4-0 and bonus. Rutgers hype is going a tad too far. Read an article over the weekend that had them as a dark horse playoff contender. State beats them to end the season. Where was that article from?
Yeah, I don't know.
Rutgers is a dark horse?
Yeah.
Wow.
Written out of New Jersey?
That's
somewhere?
a hot take.
I do think that at some point they'll get it going there a little bit. It just never seems to actually happen. MSU could absolutely start 4-0, but there are a couple toss-ups in there. And so
it wouldn't surprise you.
Wouldn't surprise me either way. Yeah.
Detroit 19, a.k.a. Jordan Mack. How many hypothetical titles have you claimed for MSU? You said they would have won in football in 2013. They wouldn't have. And in basketball, 2021, Izzo's track record says otherwise. Any others I'm missing?
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't sound smug whatsoever.
Not at all, Jordan. In basketball, I would say, okay, a couple things. I've not claimed hypothetical titles for Michigan State. I've said it was possible that they could have won in 2013. And the pushback on if the playoff had existed, and that's pushing back. And I think 2014 they had a team that if the 12-team playoff existed and they'd gotten in, they would have had a chance. They were the best 2 years was 13 and 14. And 15 was the third best year of those teams, the one that went to the playoff. The point being, there was always this idea that Michigan State could never win a national championship, and it's just not true. That team in 13 was capable of doing it. Would have they been the favorite? Would have it happened? I don't know. And they wouldn't have been the favorite. But they were capable of doing it. So that nobody ever said it was their national title. I appreciate you, Jordan. And in basketball, 2021, I don't think is I think you got the wrong year there. I think the years that they could have done it, if not for some bad luck or injuries or whatever, it was like 2014. 2010, even though they weren't a great team, that was a weak Final Four. 2018, a lot of talent, but it never came together, so I don't think that would have been a year. 2016, they would have had a chance. But luck goes the other way. In 2000, they won the title, and they were helped out by Kenyon Martin, having an injury for Cincinnati that took them out of being the top overall seed, allowed Michigan State then to play the Elite Eight at the Palace of Auburn Hills, which they needed to do to beat Iowa State, which was probably the second best team it may have been better than them. So they had luck that year. They've had non-luck other years. I've never claimed a hypothetical title for them. I'm just telling you, there were 2 years that I've been around where Michigan State if the playoff existed in 13 and the 12-team playoff had existed in 14, would have been competitive with anybody. That would be my point.
Next one from Jordan. How long do you think it will take MSU fans and the AD to settle into their place in the Big Ten and accept they will never consistently compete in the top tier? Do you think it's already happened? And will they keep Smith as long as he gets to 6 and 7 wins annually?
I love you, Jordan. I don't think they'll ever get there, Jordan. I don't think they'll ever settle into their place and accept that they'll never consistently compete in the top 10. And why would they win in football within the last decade? Or it's been a decade now, but
if the NIL money goes away, I would definitely go, okay, we're not going to be in that tier.
Right, but right now you do have billionaires, you do have NIL money. You've hired a coach who's built a decent program, who's sort of in the mold of a D'Antonio type, who had that success at Michigan State. And when you look around the Big Ten, Ohio State is not going anywhere. Michigan has some advantages, although they've been a program that has not necessarily sustained success completely over the last decade. Penn State same deal. Oregon should be really good. But when you talk about the top tier and getting in there and having a run where you're like that, there is no reason Michigan State can't be that if they're willing to spend an NIL and if they're willing to compete at that level and they have the right coaching and everything, that they can't get themselves for a little while. Can they sustain it over the course of decades like Ohio State? No, I don't think that'll ever happen. But could they have another run that was where they were a real relevant program? Absolutely. Let's take a really quick break. We come back, we'll get into many more of your hot takes, including some Harbaugh, CMU, and more Michigan State football. Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis. And we'll be right back.
Hey, sports fans, are you tired of the same old routine? Looking for a way to unwind after a long day? Look no further than Pure Options, the premier destination for all of your cannabis needs in Lansing, Detroit, Muskegon, and Mount Pleasant. Whether you're cheering for the Lions, Spartans, or the Wolverines, Pure Options has everything you need to elevate your game day experience. Mention Couch the Rube when you visit Pure Options and get a Pro Grow 8th with a $50 purchase. It's our way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. Swing by Pure Options today and elevate your cannabis experience to a whole new level. Firekeeper's online casino and sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite, Podcast Addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis, an awesome community partner. And one of the cool things they're doing, obviously, is their back-to-school party, block party on September 7th. We'll probably do something, and that's at their Frandor location, cool with them, like we did just this past weekend with Front 43 and Cask & Company's anniversary party, where if you're there and you let us know in some form, we'll send you a gift card or whatnot. It was really cool. We had some good reactions, some people at the Front 43 and Cask & Company anniversary party. So let's dig back into their hot takes.
All right, Tim Horton, number one, Graham's persistent, wasn't that bad. Cheating takes on scum are getting real old. What degree of cheating could possibly be worse than knowing your opponent's plays? It's not like the punter was on steroids or some shit. 2, Graham's 3 picks this weekend. Cincinnati soccer, loss. LA Galaxy soccer, loss. Brazil soccer, loss. Quit forcing this shitty sport into this otherwise great show via your awful bets. No one likes soccer. No one wants to hear about it. Love you, Graham. I just really hate soccer.
Appreciate you, Tim. It was not a great betting weekend. I need the Premier League to start because that's where I'll start to make my hay again yeah, Cincinnati.
0 for 3, huh?
Yeah, I mean, the League's Cup is the problem. It's this tournament where you can't really tell who's into it and who's not, and you get some wonky results, and I just got to stay away from it, so avoid me there. Yeah, you're not alone in being annoyed by my takes that Michigan's cheating wasn't that bad. It's not that I just don't know to what degree it turned out to be an advantage. They did cheat, and you have to follow the rules, and the fact that a lot of, the Michigan fans largely are just so defiant and just like, well, fuck off. We're, won a title. F you. Who cares? Did what we did. Wasn't really an advantage. Like they cheated, right? And they had an advantage, and there are rules you're supposed to have, and they didn't follow those rules. And so to what degree the actual advantage is when everybody, does sign stealing and all that sort of thing, just not the advanced scouting the way that Michigan was doing it, I don't know. I tend to think it was less of an advantage. But the problem with cheating was pointed out last week when the data shows your records that much better once Stalions was on the staff, even if it also coincides with some other factors, you open yourself up for that. And that's also fair. And the lack of ownership of that anything was done wrong by Harbaugh is, frankly, it's just ass.
Professor, if you are a pro baseball player and you swing at a breaking ball that lands outside the opposite batter's box, you should never again be called El Mago. Baked. All campfires have an ideal size. All campfires have an ideal size.
Yeah, you don't want one that's too big. You don't want to burn down the... Right.
That's good advice.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Be on the local news.
Yeah, I tell you what, watching Javi swing at things is something else. You just wonder, like...
No shit. I know, we've been watching it all year.
Or a couple of years.
But this year's more annoying.
Because it's like...
He's not a part of the rebuild or whatever they want to call it.
And he has to know he sucks at this. Like, how has this not been at all fixed? I don't get, like... maybe
when you go to AJ and be like, man, do I have to play tonight?
Yeah.
I mean, why keep putting this guy in the fucking lineup? Clint Bainey next. A lot of great head coaches receive 3 suspensions in 11 months. Lombardi, Saban, Reed, etc. Oh, wait. No, they don't. 1 ball bonus take. A lot of coaches delete texts when they have nothing to hide. That is true.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything to hide.
Not great.
Why you delete them?
Some people have like auto delete stuff, but yeah, it's not great. I
because
don't know
those people don't have anything to hide, right? I mean, if you have an auto delete on your text.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Yeah.
I mean, there's some embarrassing stuff you'd want. Witty username. Graham is wrong about his don't punish the next team regarding U of M. The kids can now leave whenever they want. It's 2024. Bonus. The NCAA should ban Michigan from postseason and vacate wins from last year. If they don't, they are proving themselves worthless.
Well, they're definitely toothless, and I think at this point that's the problem, is they're not,
Is it a lot of people think that they know that they won't be punished? Like, I know Michigan won't probably be punished, so it's like, whatever.
Yeah, well, then they're bringing back, they're bringing back Harbaugh as like the honorary captain for the opener. I mean, it's just really.
See, I respect that, though.
Yeah, it's a little.
I got to say, though, you have to, I don't know.
Yeah.
You might as well get petty. Shep, Graham's Michigan Stallions take last week goes on his Mount Rushmore of bad takes. While I realize that he's the toothless NCAA won't force Michigan to vacate the title, college football fans nationwide, aside from downriver Walmart Nation, recognize that their sudden winning the last few years, coincidentally since hiring Stallions, are a house of cards, and their title is cubic zirconia. Their systematic cheating enabled better recruiting, attracting better coaches, etc.
Yeah, I mean, you can connect if you want dot to dot, and you maybe. And again, this is why you can't cheat, because it lends itself to this criticism, especially from a lot of people don't like you, especially when you behave in a certain smug way about it. Like, there's just zero remorse, and that is the guy was on your staff. And I don't believe that nobody else knew anything. I don't believe Harbaugh probably knew, but I don't believe the idea that he was he may have been the one doing all the work, but that nobody else had any idea. I just don't buy that. And so he is on your staff. Somebody who was a paid staffer, who stood next to your coordinator, like that, or the person signaling the plays, like that stuff, that has an impact. You have to acknowledge that. And it's not just what they did. It's always the cover-up, but then it's also the idea, the lack of acknowledgement of wrongdoing is what just pisses people off to no end. And I think it's what annoys the NCAA too.
Steve, from an international basketball FIBA perspective, the greatest U.S. player is Kevin Durant. Agree?
100%. Yeah, he's the all-time leading scorer, and he had a huge bucket in the semifinal, and he was great. And yeah, it's fun to watch him reach that level again. But yeah, just going back since 08, since his first.
What about
one.
Diana Taurasi? She's got like 6 gold medals. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, he passed. Yeah, no, I'm not saying there aren't others up there.
No, I'm not voting for her. I was just saying I just saw that she had 6 gold medals.
It's pretty impressive.
Every 4 years. You know?
The women's game has not caught up. Like the men's game has more of the top players in other countries. That's one difference, though.
David Jackson. Michigan announcing Harbaugh is being brought back for the opener while we still hear the echoes of the announcement by the NCAA that he has a show cause for being a cheater. This is the final word that the rules and fair play in general are alien to Michigan. All we've missed is Ono shouting, bet. And bonus, everyone on this year's team except freshmen directly benefited from cheating, and the freshmen certainly all knew about it before they signed. This is the best case ever for a program to be punished because the whole roster was a part of it. So was Sharon Moore.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't believe that every Michigan player knew what was going on with Connor Sanders. I just don't believe that. I don't. And if, did they benefit in some part? To what degree, we don't know. Sure. I'm not a big fan of punishing players for things like this, and that's just the way I feel. And I get that a lot of people disagree with me, and I'm not saying the program. And we'll see what the NCAA does. Maybe they will show some teeth. Maybe they'll be willing to fight Michigan a little bit on this. You are right to your point, though. Was it the previous point about players can leave? That does change the dynamic a little bit in terms of when but you have to make sure that if you do punish players with some sort of NCAA sanction or punish a program, players are allowed to leave. That should be like a coach leaving where they get 30 days to jump back in the portal because that.
But see, that would hurt Michigan the most, right? And if players are allowed to leave, really, is it that big of a deal to the players? They just have to move on, obviously, pick up and leave. But I'm saying that affects Michigan because if they get away with it, then they know they can get away with it, and that's the problem I have. Is like I agree with you. You have to punish Michigan in some way. Take NIL money or something like that, or unfortunately, punish the regime that's there now if you can't get to the regime that's gone.
They absolutely could wind up with a bowl ban this year. The problem is that bowl ban won't include the college football playoff, I don't believe. Now, maybe the college football playoff would honor that bowl ban, but it wouldn't have to. And outside of those 12 spots for the college football playoff, I'm not sure anybody wants to be in a bowl game anyway, especially a school like Michigan. So, but yeah, there could absolutely be that.
Kurt Wisniewski, the University of Michigan, bringing back Baugh as honorary captain, showcases a lack of institutional control, delusion, arrogance, and it's who we thought they were. It's not the coach; it's the program.
It's the old D'Antonio line. Yeah, look, I wouldn't bring him back here, and I get that it's throwing. If I were the AD or whatnot, because you didn't need to do it it's not like anybody was expecting Harbaugh to be there on day one. You're adding that to the element. It's not like Harbaugh was coming back and then the NCAA made its ruling and then you were telling him, well, now you can't come. He's coaching the San Diego Chargers who don't start for another week, and now you've just decided to bring him back as the honorary captain at a moment that you really didn't need to do that. And it does speak to a certain way of being that permeates the athletic department and maybe beyond.
Corey Ostrom. Santa Ono will be forced to fire Ward Manuel in an effort to save his own job after Stallions and the FBI investigations are complete. Manuel has never overseen a broken athletic department, and not just in football, far too long.
He has overseen. Yeah. Like we talked about this last week, Ward Manuel must do some things very well because the surface stuff, other than sort of brazenly going against the NCAA and sticking up for his people, which may be what he's told to do, doesn't seem to be that great. And
so he's good behind the scenes.
I don't know that either. I'm just saying he must be, right? Like he must be good behind the scenes.
Original Dark Mantonio. Hearing a lot of talk on MSU and Ohio State. Ohio State shows saying Michigan can have their title, but they won't recognize it because Michigan cheated. That's 100% fine, but as long as the college football playoff recognizes it and in the record books. Ohio State and Michigan State not accepting it will only be their frustrating cross to bear.
No, he's right to some degree. I mean, Michigan, like I was interviews today with Jonathan Smith and Jack Velling and these guys. Behind them were 2 Michigan State national championship trophies because they have them spaced out in this area we do the interviews, including the 1957 trophy, when they did not even win the Big Ten and they claim a national title. Like, Michigan's national title is more legit than that. Michigan State still has a trophy.
Hey,
in
let's
there.
not go into specifics.
All
here,
right, sorry. But
it was a long time ago.
But you're right. As long as it's recognized, Michigan fans are going to have no problem. It is going to be the angst and the frustration of their rivals and people that hate them only. And you may not recognize it, but it is recognized. It will be a title. They're fine. They're fine as long as it's recognized. They don't care that it's they actually probably enjoy that it's driving you nuts, and that is very true.
Jay Riemenschneider, I'm working in Lansing now, and at my job I see Michigan gear and paraphernalia at what looks like a 10-to-1 ratio versus Michigan State stuff. You had a question a while back asking who had more fans in the state, and you said maybe MSU. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case, even in MSU's own hometown. The best bonus take, facts don't care about your feelings.
To your point about Lansing is a more Michigan State town. There may be people with a lot of Michigan pride wearing their stuff right now, and Michigan football is a huge brand. But Michigan State has more alums. It is people jump on the piggyback, Michigan football all the time. That I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan football statewide had a bigger following. And in fact, overall fan following based on readership numbers, if you look at like the Detroit Free Press's numbers and things like that, it outpaces MSU's. MSU basketball outpaces Michigan substantially. Michigan is the 8th of the 8 major sports in Michigan. Lions 1, Tigers 2, Michigan football 2, Red Wings, Pistons, Michigan State basketball, which is probably like 4 actually, Michigan State basketball, and Michigan basketball. If I have an 8 there, you know what I'm talking about. Michigan basketball is 8, has always been 8, and will always be 8. And it's a bigger brand outside the state than in the state. So I don't know. There's a lot of pride with Michigan football right now, and Michigan football is a huge brand, but I don't know if it's that simple. And certainly based on our metrics in this city, if we felt that was the case, that there was Michigan to be capitalized on, we would do more Michigan coverage. And frankly, they used to at the LSJ. They used to have a Michigan beat writer at Travel. But I'm not doubting your anecdotal evidence, and I'm not saying that your anecdotal evidence to some degree doesn't have a point, because there are times where it does add up. I'm telling you right now, it's not as clear cut as you may see.
Cracker Sofa. Team USA had the greatest scorer, shooter, and player in history on its roster, and still had to have 2 Curry flurries in the process to win gold. The world is caught up, and they won't be the favorites for 2028. And bonus, takes based on preseason performances and results are ass.
100%.
But it's all we have.
It's true.
Until it starts.
And yeah, it's brutal. I love
this take, though. The
basketball
world is caught up with. You're like, no shit. It's great. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad everybody's catching up. It's fun.
I do
They're
think
going to be the favorites in 28.
Because it's in L.A., too. And if it was
NBA players.
Well, and France may get there. France is the one. They got Wembanyama. They've got a really good team. Is a couple. I mean, they've got the number 1 pick in this year's draft, number 2, whatever you want. Like, France is a one. I wouldn't be surprised in 4 years if France can put together a 5 that's toe to toe with them. And Canada really just needs a big man. Like, and if Zach Edey develops, he's a Canadian. Like, I don't know why he didn't play this year. Canada's real problem.
Dunked on constantly.
I don't know, but maybe he'll be good. Like, who knows? Like, there are a couple teams. Germany, I thought, was really good all year. Serbia is obviously pretty close. There are maybe 5 teams from a talent standpoint, maybe 6 that on a given day can get you. But I think the U.S. will still be the favorite, especially in L.A.
Mr. Benjen, did you see that Lions preseason game? Detroit has the worst backup quarterbacks in the league. They must bring in someone better to have a great season. Baked. About 20% of most Graham stories make me go, what is he talking about? They usually start well. Then a tangent takes over and yammering ensues.
Yeah.
Then you pull out the death spiral and finish well. Tighten up the final third, and your wife will also think you appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Mr. Benjen.
I mean, it's, those are facts.
Yeah, no, he's not.
And it hurts to read them out loud.
What's the line Riemenschneider had about facts and feelings? He said it was... Yeah, facts don't care about your feelings. No, these are facts. This is warranted criticism. I don't.
I would also say too many details.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like street. No, it was Leland Street. No, it was January Street. No, it was, like just name it. No one cares.
It's all fair.
Mojo Jojo. I enjoy Graham stories. Mojo Jojo. Number 1, toss up for enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Harbaugh and his weird ass around football and fake ass virtue signaling. Or Raccoon Graham on a weekend. Elizabeth is out of town with unfettered access to DoorDash and groovy donuts. 2, Harbaugh's non-apology is what my dad would say, except he'd take us to McDonald's afterwards. And 3, Harbaugh is the George Costanza of American football. It's not a lie if you believe it. That's true.
Yeah.
Keep lying until they show you evidence.
That is true, technically.
And then keep lying there, too.
Yeah. So the question here, most enthusiasm, Harbaugh and his weird ass around football and fake virtue signaling, or me, Raccoon Graham, with little pure options in the system.
Mm-hmm.
On a weekend, Elizabeth is out of town and unfettered access to DoorDash and groovy donuts. I'm pretty enthusiastic on those weekends.
I feel like the amount of enthusiasm you would bring to the table would match Harbaugh's
yes.
equally.
Totally agree. Yeah.
I could see it going either way. Rich Kane, of all the pro wrestling iconic legends, the worst by far, and no other sports entertainment legend is in the same lame universe, is Hulk Hogan. Atomic leg drop? Get the flock. Do you really say flock? Get the flock out of here with that weak shit. And bonus, Ohio State loses at Penn State, and Oregon then chokes up versus Michigan and misses the expanded playoff. Texas loses 4 games. Oregon falls victim to rabid beavers seeking revenge, loses at Wisconsin, and becomes acquainted with the inexplicable curse of Rose Aid Stadium.
Ross Aid Stadium.
Whatever. Yeah. It says Rose. On a Friday night, and also misses the playoffs. And baked. Bama loses at least 5 games by a combined 7 points and gets in the playoff anyway.
I do think one of the things that's going to be fun to watch with the 12 games is we've sort of come to this thought or understanding that 10-2 gets you in if you're in a major conference, because that's been what gets you to the main bowls, the New Year's Six bowls before, the top 12 games. And now at 12, but as leagues get tougher, as schedules get tougher, as schedules get less balanced, there are going to be real arguments for 9-3 teams. Maybe an 8-4 team at some point that just plays everybody close and beats some really good teams. And it's going to get fascinating to watch how this gets measured. And I think the cool thing about it is it takes the pressure off. Like, one thing I hated about the other playoff is the angst that was created by the one loss. You drop a game you shouldn't in September. Everybody's like, that's it. Fuck it. Close up shop. They're going home. And people almost are smarmy about it. No. Now you have time to make up for that, and I think it's better for the sport.
Captain Dumbfuck next. Hot take. Don't forget these are supposed to be hot takes. MSU beats Oregon this year. Would I read that one already?
Yep. No. This is new.
These are supposed to be hot takes. MSU beats Oregon this year. Coach Smith and other staff and players have been their rivals for years. Oregon will probably overlook MSU, while MSU will treat it like an MSU-Michigan rivalry.
So, yeah. It's possible. It's a Friday night, pretty early in the season. Let me look at Oregon's schedule, what they have around there. In Oregon, I just so really good peanut. Oregon's at UCLA the week before, and they're hosting Ohio State the week after Michigan State. You never know. I just think from a talent perspective, it's unlikely.
That's a great bit. Is look it up, play the Hoff, and then go, I don't know. After all that. Caleb Clark, Stan. Graham being a Michigan and Central Michigan apologist is infuriating. Michigan needs to be punished for cheating. Central needs to be punished for cheating. It's that simple. Bonus, I've never laughed harder than when Graham called Holt the home of Larry Nassar. Well done, sir. Well done. I think you called it Nassarville.
I did not call it Nassarville.
No?
I just called it.
Am I mistaken?
Home of Larry Nassar.
Oh, okay.
I
could have swore I heard Nassarville.
It's not on the sign when you go into town. That's for sure.
Abe, Graham, I am from Holt and was actually happy you brought up Nassar the other day. He played on my 50 and older softball team. Good guy.
There is a hot off base take. I'm not, pure options shouldn't even bring you to that conclusion. So, Abe,
is Nasser 50 yet? I mean, it's kind of a lie, isn't it?
He was over 50 when he got.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know you knew his whole Wikipedia. Jesus. Hans Jurgen, number 1, France lost. Where have I heard that before? I kid the French. Without them, King George would have had his way. 2, for the first time in 80 years, German-made tanks are rolling through Russia. Putin has been as terrible for Russia as Graham for the LSJ. Jesus. I kid. 3, Tim Walz should go on the Pat McAfee show to talk about football.
I do want to see Tim Walz. Anytime you get a high school football coach who's a pretty successful high school football coach, I do look forward to the sports stories with him. Yeah.
Jake Hawkins, congratulations to Team USA men's basketball for winning the gold medal, but basketball fans should really enjoy this one. It may be a while when we'll see Team USA as dominant. KD, Steph, and LeBron are going to be gone, and 65 NBA players in the Olympics that weren't Americans. No, by the way, are we sure LeBron's not going to? I know that he said that. I think he plays in 4 years.
I think he's done. I think this is
I don't know.
Because he won't be, because, again,
too good, man.
But I don't know if he will be in 4 years. And the idea, you see what happens to Tatum. If LeBron's not the featured guy, if he's not the guy with the ball in his hands, I don't know how effective he is. I'm pretty sure Jake Hawkins probably had 2 other takes. I apologize, Jake.
I guarantee you he had other ones. I thought you were cutting him short here.
Hold on. Let me see. Give me some off. I apologize.
I ride through the city's backside. I see the stars come out of the sky. Yeah, the bright and hollow sky.
Free Ubers.
It looks so good tonight.
Welcome to the Blue Wall.
I am a passenger.
Man,
No,
I know we won the lottery.
I think that's it. Jake going pithy. It's pithy. It's a lot. I see nothing else. Jake, if I missed it, I apologize. I don't see
that so loud. Sorry. Upper Deck Jerk Guy to end this thing. Number 1, ray gun was the best thing about the Olympics. 2, sleep is underrated and work is overrated. And 3, given that tickling yourself does not work the same as someone else tickling you, we really lucked out with masturbation.
Appreciate you, Upper Deck.
That's the best take of all time.
Yeah, I mean, think of that. Yeah, if that didn't work for people, would have been a problem. Would have been a big problem. We appreciate all of you, even the Upper Deck Jerk Guy, for producing our show, especially the Upper Deck Jerk Guy. We know. Yeah, we love you. We'll be back Wednesday or Thursday. We need to look at the show schedule here. One other show this week, then we'll be back on the 3 show weeks after this week. We appreciate Pure Options. Go to pureoptions.com. Again, location information. You can sign up for their Pure Perks loyalty program. And if you spend $50 or more, let them know Couch of the Roof sent you a free 8th of Pro Grow. Again, pureoptions.com. And Midtown Brewing Company. Lord of the Rings trivia this Thursday night. Give them a call. Reserve your spot. Put together a team. If you have friends, you can do that. Or any other occasion. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.